I'm not pessimistic. I just love so much knowledge. And the more knowledge, the more you see what's behind the curtain, and you see the power of greed and interest, and people using that for their own benefits. And I think we don't want to be used, and we don't want to use it against anyone, but we want to know what is going on. So that's my little take. So anyone wants to add anything else? Thank you for
Prof-
yes,
Professor, I have one thing to kind of just pick your brain about.
yes,
This is Pablo.
yes, Pablo.
When when we're talking about marketing and the power that it has for people to use, whether good or bad, how do you particularly feel about people using it for not necessarily like the good things? Like we see like Trump's election in 2016,
Yes,
like the power of marketing, what it did. Like, he didn't spend, I mean, he spent some money, but it was really, the media just like constantly talking about him. And then, it was something like over $1 billion of free marketing that they gave him over the election cycle. And, which ultimately pushed them into office because it was just so many people talking about him. um like, and whether you're on the side of, MAGA supporter or not, and I'm not getting into politics, but there are people that think that it was good and there were people that thought it was bad. But what do you particularly feel about people that use it for, their own personal gain?
well, I, I think it's wrong to use it for bad, but I think it's right to use it for your own personal gain. So let me explain. If your personal gain is to help people become more better parents, or there's one thing that it's going to be we're going to talk about consumer behavior. There's one thing that is extremely important to understand is, and it's kind of scary, and it shocks me to say it, is we are very similar to our parents. We are very similar to our parents. And if you say that to a 17 years old, they say no. 18 years old, no way. 21 years old, I don't believe what you say. And then as they get older, people realize, hey, that could be true. I'm very similar to my parents. The biggest effect on who we are is our culture. Then it's our society. But the biggest effect on our culture, it's our parents. So our biggest effect on us is our parents. You obviously 50-50, 50% your mom and 50% your dad. And if you add those two, you're not 100% them. You also have your own, but there's very little of you. So kids that were beat up are most likely to beat up their kids. Kids that were abused sexually are most likely to also abuse sexually. So these are negative things. Can you stop that? So I see a lot of parents that tell me, "Oh, my dad didn't come to watch me play football, and I won't do the same. So that's why I go see my son play football all the time." Some people are so aware of what their parents did or didn't do that they try to compensate by doing something that they wish someone did for them, and that's okay too. And so what happens is you're such a replication of your parents that I think, again, I'm talking about history. You can learn about yourself many ways, but two ways that are very obvious is by looking at your parents and by looking at your kids. You can see this repetition. You can see this imitation. You can see this sort of maybe of a social DNA or whatever you want to call it. So because you know that, what you can do is use the strengths of these people that you can see through the mirror of them, and you can also try to improve what you're weak at. And so that is very, very important. And so if we want to do better in our society, we have to use all the tools to do better. And so the media, the media is like a supermarket. So the media when you go to the supermarket, what do you see? You see what you see in front of your eyes. But what you see in front of your eyes in the supermarket is almost never the best product. The best product is you have to do some study. Then you go in the supermarket, look for it, and you will find it's not in that supermarket. So then what people do is they look for which supermarket it is, and then they go to another supermarket that has it. But what they need to do well is tell the supermarket, you know, I used to come to this supermarket, but I'm learning that the best butter is this, the best milk is this, the best this, and you don't have any of these. Why? So I won't come here anymore. Then the supermarket, what they do is they say, okay, I promise next time you come, I'll have those products. The next time you come, you see these products, you keep going to that supermarket. The media is the same. The media is just a distributor most of the time. There's the real media and sort of the fake media. So there's like the distribution of news, and there's the one that collect the news. So raters, raters collect news. CNN, Fox News mostly distribute news. It's like a supermarket. So you get distributed what they want to distribute. And if the people don't ask for better, they get what they deserve. So the problem is not the media. The problem is not the politician. The problem is the people. The people not asking for more. The people not asking for better. Like, I think I'm a decent person. Do I want to be a politician? No. Why? I would not feel comfortable doing what you have to do. I don't want to go down and dirty. I don't want to make compromises. So I can't be a politician. I'll be cited by everybody. The media will never talk about me unless I sleep on a banana peel and fall on my back. And then they will say, oh, this politician, Frank Vigneron, just fell on his back. He's so stupid. But when I say good things, they will not put me on until the people want to recognize the people that do very well. So then, if you're someone that want to succeed and you want to do the good, do you have to manipulate the distribution of things, knowing their biases? Yes, you have to. So I don't want to insult you, but I said a lot of things that I think if I could remember to repeat that on the last class, I think it will make more sense because I'll bring more aspects of marketing that suddenly you see where I come from. But I want you to understand that there are tools that you don't want someone that doesn't know all the tools. It's like you're a mechanic and you don't know all the tools. You only know 3 tools. You're not going to go very far. You need to know all of them. The good one, the bad one, you need to know all of this. Everything that you could use and everything that could use against you. Then you better prepare it. And not just for business, but for so many things. Did I sort of answer your question, Pablo?
Yeah, you did. They're tools. I understand that they're tools. And I guess I'm just like, uh, because I'm thinking about it actively, I'm just realizing how powerful these tools are.
Exactly. They're very powerful because they are not, they have conflict, huge conflicts of interest. And if you're not part of their interest, you're never going to give a chance. So you have to understand how they think.
I, I have
Yeah,
a I have a like a just a comment to make. I guess I have studied with a bunch of different publicists and stuff like that, and I've seen them kind of use their voices to shift the narrative for good, if it's in the interest of, or, if it's in the interest of their campaign or client. But then also when those clients were in the news for terrible things that they've done, I've seen them not take a moral perspective and clean it up for the client, and that I kind of left one of the companies when I saw that happen, and I don't know. Um, what is my question? I guess I'm saying these concepts are actually, they're very interesting. How you can manipulate the public to believe or think something that isn't true, just because you want to save face. You know what I mean?
exactly. So you see, thank you for being honest and saying this. This happens all the time. Um, and why do I say that? Because YouTubers used to be honest people, but not anymore. I mean, it's a job now, and therefore it's not a hobby anymore, and therefore they are being courted by all the companies, and therefore now it's a product. And so yeah, but I think let's keep on going. At least you get this perspective, and I don't want you to think too dark. You know, it's not. Yeah, again, it's for the good. If you're a good person, you need to know this in order to use it to your advantage. It's there. It's there for everyone. And so we are in the good. We are helping Alex Ritchie, and we're going to do it knowing all the tools and the perspectives and be honest. So planning is complicated because there's many choices. What's a business plan? Most people don't know what's a business plan. Most instructors, I think, don't even know what's a business plan. So I created this slide, which is a simple slide, which explains better than Wikipedia what's a business plan. So when people tell you, I have a business plan, most of the time they think about a business model. I'm going to do so, and make this kind of money and work with these people. That's a business model. A business plan is a report that has multiple plan inside. So a business plan itself does not exist. It's just a report which is made of other existing plan. So there's an existing plan of the accounting. So if you're like an accounting major, you write accounting plan. That plan will go inside the business plan. If you're a finance major, you do your finance plan. You put it inside. If you're a marketing person, you'll do a marketing plan. You'll put it inside. Operation the same, HR the same, production the same, business law the same, and then you'll have a timeline for the plan. So writing a business plan is a big document. Could I write a business plan in 15 pages? Yeah, you do 2 pages for each one of the plans. So you do 2 pages for accounting, 2 pages for finance, 2 pages for marketing, and so forth. That's okay. But when people say I write a business plan, most of the time they write a marketing plan, if any, if maybe. So a marketing plan is only one document inside the business plan. I can't say it's the most important document because then, well, I think it is, but obviously I'm biased for saying that. But it, if one was the most important, it's possible that it would be marketing. Let me put it this way. So this marketing plan has the situation analysis with the SWOT and the PEST, if you want. It has another analysis that you put in there where you put the barriers of entry, the bargaining power, the competitive advantage. Then they talk about the competitors, so the strengths, weaknesses of the competitors. Then it talks about specifically the customers. So we heard about Avatar. That's one name, the new name I learned this semester. Why not? We talked about stereotype, but there's a technical term which is called segmentation, targeting, and positioning. So it's the STP. That's the real name for all of this. And then you have your objectives, you have your strategies, and then you have your 4 Ps: product, price, promotion, and place. And then you're looking at the budgets, and then you're looking at the timeline. So that's the traditional marketing plan. That's essentially what you will present in your presentation. That's essentially what you would have to write if you were to write a report. And so what you see on the right side here, the marketing plan, is 99% of the time like that, and there's very little variation. However, the presentation can have a lot of variation because the presentation is an argument. Okay, it's a sales. All right. So the idea is here. You see 3 Russian dolls. Maybe you've seen them. If you see in the middle of the each object, there's a cut because they break apart. Those 3 Russian dolls are very much the same size. But if you were to take one and open it, break it apart, you will see that there's several Russian dolls that are embedded inside. Okay. If I was to say, this is, to use an analogy, this is a business, and each one of these is a part. Which part would be the most important? And here we'll be looking, let's say, at the daddy, the mommy, and the kids. So we'll do a judgment of preference, and it will be very different based on the culture. But if it's a business, I want to talk about the objectives, the strategies, the tactics, the mission, the opportunities. Which one do you think will be the biggest one?
Opportunity.
Exactly. So the biggest one will be the opportunity. So the big dollar is the opportunity. The next dollar, the objective or the mission. The next dollar, the strategy. And then the next dollar, the tactics. So tactics feed into the strategies. The strategies feed into the objectives, and the objectives are related to the opportunities that the company have identified. Okay, that's why the opportunity is very much the blood of your company. All right. So here I just said the same thing. So strategy is the high level direction. The tactics is the lower level direction. So when you think about this, the strategies are higher level direction, so it's higher executive decisions. The tactics are lower level decisions, so it's lower um, executive decisions. So if you're like a manager, you make tactical decisions. If you're the CEO, you make strategic decisions. So there's a different order. If you're a general, you make strategic decisions. If you're a surgeon in the army, surgeon, you make tactical decisions. It's the same thing. General don't make tactics, they make strategies, right? They stay away from the fight and they make strategies because it's long term. Another thing that you need to know, it's called the strategic business unit of the Boston consulting group approach. So the BCG matrix is a matrix made of 4 quadrants. And the idea behind the BCG is that different um, we have different product in different stage of importance of focus for the company. So either we have a product in a category that is growing very fast or not growing, or a product where we have a large market share or a small market share. So a star, so that's the name of the product here, star. Star is the one that where you have a high market share and it's a high market growth. So you are Uber and you have a service of standard taxis, for example. But now you Uber and you're doing affordable limo. Maybe the affordable limos this time is you have a small market share and it's not growing very much, and therefore it's a dog. But maybe you have um, you have a luxury limo, and in that case, the luxury limo is your cash cow because you have a high market share, but it's not growing very much. And you've just started what they started station wagon, for example, where they have a low market share, but people are asking for Ubers with large, um, small amount of people, but large amount of luggages or something like this, and you have a question mark. So so this would not, I guess, this could apply to Alex Ritchie if you're looking at the different songs that he has and putting them based on the genre of music, where there could be some genre where there's not a lot of growth. In both cases, it's going to have a low market share. So it's either going to be a question mark or a dogs. So for Alex Ritchie, this matrix will really apply. So let's say mariachis, it will be in the dogs, versus reggaeton, it will be in the question marks for his songs. And what you do with this is oftentimes the dogs are the one that you stop. But then you could look at a different market maybe, and then he would have no position in a if he's doing a rap or hip hop or something like that. Let's say or classical music or something like this. It'd be totally different. And therefore, you don't have a, it's the BCG of where you belong, but then you don't have a BCG matrix for where you have nothing. So it's an analytical tool of your product standing at a specific point in time. Okay, so now benchmarking is what? Benchmarking is analyzing your competitors. So you analyze their strengths and weaknesses. That's pretty obvious, but you also analyze the strategies that they are doing. So what I mean by you analyze is you don't know their strategies because that's secret 99% of the time. However, you can see what they are doing, so you are sort of guessing what are the strategy. They may be you may be reading between the lines on what they're saying and guessing also not just from what they're doing, but from what they're saying, what are the strategies they're going after, and also their objectives. You can also analyze which kind of consumers they're going after. So in that situation, it's called STP. I told you this just before. So you are also trying to analyze their segmentation, targeting, and positioning. You're trying to analyze their brand and the image of their brand and reputation and association that they want their brand to have. And you're looking at this with your current competitors, but you're also doing this for the potential competitors for the markets that they would go after. Like if you say Alex Ritchie should do something like a Spanish hip hop, and he doesn't do that, then you would have to look at who would be the competitors if he was doing Spanish hip hop. So a competitive analysis is of the current competitors and the potential competitors if they were to change. You don't have to change. If you don't change, you don't have to analyze the competitor that they would have. Since you're not changing, you can't anticipate that. So I have a list here of my 11 points of benchmarking that I would do, and I try to list them all. So you list who are the competitors. That's the first one. Who are your competitors? Then you do a SW, strengths and weaknesses of your competitors. So it's a repeat of what I say. Then you will try to analyze their strategies and objectives. You will define their targets. You'll define their positioning, which I will explain later, but the positioning is sort of the image that they want to have, how they want to be, what they want to be known for, what is the meaning of the company and the brand. So you'll analyze that. You'll analyze their prices as well. That's connected with their image, their prices, but you will see their prices because you want to try to see what kind of margin do they have as well. You know, a business is all about margins, and margins is all about the product quality. Either you make a great product with a great quality at $10, but the product is so good that you cannot advertise it as much, or you make a $10 product, but a lesser good product, and this lesser good allows you to get some money which you divert in advertising. So in other words, can you sell a not so good product in today's world? Yes, but you're gonna have to advertise it a lot. So at the end, everybody makes, let's say, the same margin. Everybody makes 20%, everybody makes 50%, but you decide on when you set the price if the value of the product is in the fact that everybody knows about it, and therefore it becomes a little bit of a milligram thing. Everybody knows about it, everybody thinks about it, everybody buys it because that's what everybody does. Or you don't advertise that much, and the money that you save in not advertising that much, you put it in the product. But if you do this, it would require people to be more curious to look for a better product. It's like I buy brand X because brand X is not known by everybody, because they don't try to be known by everybody, because they're trying to make a better product. And because I know what's a better product, therefore I buy brand X. And the other person say, never heard of brand X. I buy brand Y because that's that's the most famous brand. Most famous brands are never the best product because you pay for those brands to be famous. You pay for it. And they have to pay to be famous. And to be famous, they have to keep some of that money in order to spend it for you to think that they're famous. And therefore, it won't go in the product. Money has to go somewhere. Money is finite. It's not the infinity. So therefore, the money is the same for everybody else. So at the end, you have to make that decision. But then it's a little bit the chicken on the egg, which is that if you spend the money on the product, then you can't spend it on advertising. And therefore, it's going to take a long time for people to realize that it's better. They may not even ever realize because they are sheep. They're going to go for the one that is telling them that they are the best. Because if they hear it one time, two time, 30 time, eventually they will believe it's true if they heard it enough. So then you go, okay, so therefore the first one should be advertising. Unfortunately, that's how it works. The more you invest in advertising, the more they will hear it. The more they will hear it, the more they'll believe it's true, and the more they will buy. And then if they're satisfied, remember satisfy, you have to satisfy them. And it's satisfying enough because they don't have very high criteria of selection, and they've been sort of convinced it's good, then they will stick to it and say it's fine and keep on buying. And they won't even look for the other better products because they're satisfied. And one day they bump into a better product and went and go, gee, I never knew. This is so much better. It's the same price. Yeah, but we don't put so much in advertising because the money has to go somewhere and we put it in the product. So that is very, very important. Most people get trapped in this and buy what they know. And what they know is what they've been told to know. Obviously, I'm not telling you anything new. We just finished Schopenhauer and Milgram. That's what people have been saying for years and hundreds of years. So, and he was probably told by other people before them, but those people didn't have the voice that these people had. So, price. Analyzing distribution and channels is the same thing. Is where do they sell and how many intermediaries? And so that would be, we will have a full class on positioning. We'll have a full class on pricing and a full class on distribution. So that's why I'm jumping ahead. At the end of this class, you will know I'll have spent 2 hours on each one of these. But now I'm only brushing them. We'll spend a full class on what is the product. So analyzing a product, and that comes later as well. How many new, old, and all that, so that you're doing a BCG matrix for your competitors by analyzing what are their products and where do they fit. Are these products, are they dogs, question marks? How many do they have? You have to act as if you are in that company, in your competitor's company, so that way you know them inside out. You look at their communication, how do they communicate? And then you look at the type of partnership do they have. So the trade leverage. Who do they buy supplies and who are their staff? Sometimes you want to hire their staff. You want to pick the best employee of your competitors. And then another thing that is sort of creative is when you benchmark, not just in the USA, but you do a benchmark overseas. Because by analyzing a competitor, who may not be a competitor because it's overseas, you learn about someone doing something overseas, and then that may give you the idea of what you could do in the US. It only gives you the idea. By learning of what they're doing overseas, to actually copy that idea and then see if there's the opportunity in the US and then implement it. And then you become an innovator in your country, not an innovator in the world because it exists somewhere else. And then even more creative is sometimes what you do is you look across other industries, not just your industry, to learn from what another industry is doing in order to apply those ideas in your industry. So benchmarking is it's a cheap, it's a shortcut to identify opportunities as well. All right. So where do I want to go? So I'll go a few minutes. So this is you looking at my Russian doll again. You have the big Russian doll, the small Russian doll. So the big one is strategy, the small one is tactics. That's something that as a master student you want to understand is that there are big directions and small directions. Smaller activities feed into bigger activities. But not only that, it also evolves depending on your product. If it's a question mark versus a star. If you launch it a year ago or if you launch it 15 years ago. all your activities, strategic and tactical, will evolve depending on where is your product. So this is a slide that I just threw in there, but I will discuss it more in depth later. Before we do this, I want to talk about the four. So how many strategies exist? If I had to throw a number, I would say there's 100 strategies, marketing strategies, or management strategies, because the marketing and management strategies, we have them in common for the most part. So there's 100. These four, which are on this slide, I would say cover 60%, if not more, of the situation. So if you learn those four strategies, you cover 60% of the situation. So what are they? So it depends on based on the product being new or existing, the market being new or existing. So if you say our strategy is market penetration. So this will be in the quiz. This is something that you need to learn because it's in the quiz, for sure, 100%. I will ask a question, which is, if a company decides to sell the same product at the same price to the same people, what is the name of the strategy? Same. It's market penetration. Market penetration is when Coca-Cola decides to sell more Coca-Cola. What are the small ideas? That's the big Russian doll. It's called the strategy, the market penetration, selling the same to the same people. What are the tactics to sell? What would be the tactics to sell more to the same people? The smaller idea. What could you do?
You add different flavors, so have like cherry or like vanilla.
If you add different flavors, you're developing a new product. So it's the next one. It's a new product for the same people. No. Simple thing is you reduce the price. You say Saturday the 13th, 50% off. You sell more. Just today. Just that supermarket. So that's a small tactic. You see the difference between a high level direction, which is we're not going to try a new product, we're going to sell more to the same people. The tactics is let's sell it in more places. We're selling it in 1,000 stores. Now we're going to sell it to 1,000 stores and 200 online stores. We usually advertise in 5 magazines. We're going to advertise in 20 magazines and on Instagram. So it's just doing more actions. Now, if I say I want to sell a new product to the same people and Coca-Cola makes a new flavor, what are the actions? The action is to identify which flavor. Should it be banana Coke, or should it be vanilla Coke? And then you do some research, and then you find that vanilla is better than banana Coke. I'm sure they did banana Coke research, or apple Coke or something like this. And they found that it was better if it was cherry or vanilla. I don't think they did cherry Coke because they had a meeting and someone said, oh, we need to do a flavor. And the person was there saying, I like cherry, let's do cherry, guys. And then they did cherry. It was a result of an opportunity based on a research and looking at different flavors, okay? Even the cherry Coke that they did was not a random cherry Coke. Is they analyzed which cherry was going to be the best, right? So that's new product development. Now, market development is when you sell the same product to a different group of people, to a different stereotype. So if the stereotype of Diet Coke is, we made Diet Coke for people that have diabetes, let's say, market development will be saying, we're going to sell Diet Coke for people that do exercise. And we want them to believe, because obviously, I'm sorry to say, but that's a belief, that if you exercise, you should not be drinking Coke, you should be drinking Diet Coke. And so then they do different communication, different distribution, all this, different packaging. They change slightly, maybe some little information on the packaging for people who exercise to say, you know what, I like Coke, so I don't drink very much anymore, but I'll drink the Diet Coke because that's good, that's okay for me, right? So market development. Diversification is unfortunately not what it seems to be based on this matrix. This matrix is as good as it gets, but it's not perfect. The textbook is going to confuse you. The internet is going to confuse you. So let me just explain to you what this diversification is. Is it a significant change? So if Diet Coke was to do, no, sorry, if Coca-Cola was to do a banana flavored for Brazilians, that sounds like diversification because it's a new market, let's say a new flavor. But diversification is much more than that. So what is a banana cook for Brazilians? A banana cook for Brazilian is two strategies. It's product development and market development. It's not diversification. Diversification is a significant change. So if they were making Coca-Cola ice creams, or if they are making Coca-Cola airlines, or if they are making Coca-Cola lawn mowers, so that's to be a significant change. It's like you are Tesla and you're making Tesla motorcycles. So it's something very different. Or Tesla Airlines, to just keep on going with this example. So if Tesla was making a two-door Tesla, it's a new product development. If Tesla is making an 8-passenger Tesla, or let's say 9-passenger Tesla, it's a new product development. If they're making Tesla for billionaires, it's market development. Okay. But if they're making a Tesla helicopter, that's diversification. So diversification is when you diversify, when you go in a different market, totally different market. So why do I insist on this with crazy examples? Is because obviously when you look at that matrix, therefore there should not be diversification there because it doesn't really belong. I agree. It's a little misleading if you want.
Professor, I have a quick
yeah,
question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you give me a quick example of diversification? I think I know what it means, but I just don't want to feel confused.
Well, it's like if CSUN now was making what could they do? Printers. CSUN is making printers. They have a little factory on the side. Are they opening a bank? CSUN Bank. That's diversification. If CSUN was to open a school of medicine, no, that's a new product development. Is they have a school of engineering, a school of law, a school of nursing, a school of business, school of medicine. It's just a new product.
Changing completely the type of product that you're already putting
Yeah,
out.
it's changing totally. So that's what I say. I mean, Tesla making helicopters.
Yeah.
You know, Tesla Airlines, Tesla ice cream. I don't know what to use. So diversification is it's significant. That's why I say if you put it in this box, but this is not just me who's being crazy to use this box and trying to force you. This box is the box that everybody used for the past 50 years in every school of business. Okay, so it's not perfect. That's what I'm trying to say. So diversification is much more than just a new product and a new market. It's a completely new product on market. So when you have
Professor?
So if you have a new product on a new market, like CSUN having a school of medicine, it's a new product on a new market. Now let's say they're doing CSUN School of Medicine in Arizona. That sounds like diversification. No, it's two strategies. It's product development and market development. Because we're not in Arizona. I mean, we are, but I mean, we're not focusing. Maybe in the school right now, there's someone from Arizona, but we're not focusing on students from Arizona. And so that's why it's a little misleading. And I just want you not to hold it against me. This is the #1 most used slide by everybody in the world. But I want to emphasize on the fact that diversification has to be completely different. Yes, you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to clarify something quick. So like when Coke has like a store in Vegas and they sell you like merch, but they also have sodas and all that, what would you classify that under?
So they have a Coke store. They have a Coke store. So that's diversification.
Okay.
So if we were to take this out of like a chart form and put this into a sentence, or like a math equation, you would say that market development plus product development equals diversification, correct?
No.
It's the overlapping of the two strategies.
And no, and that's exactly what I'm saying, that it's not. Because that's why this matrix is screwed up, because it looks like it is, but it's not. It's not product development and market development equals diversification. That's exactly what it's not. Because Coke, what would be product development? Banana flavored Coke, market development, selling it in Antarctica. They don't sell in Antarctica. That's not diversification. That's just product development and market development. So you have to say both. But then if you're opening a Coke store in Las Vegas, I mean, as far as I know, Coke is not a retail company selling products in retail store. I mean, I've never been to a Coke store. So if they're starting to go in retail, that's a totally different ballgame. And that would justify saying that's diversification. If there was a Coke, you know, Virgin Airline, you're in the music, so you know Virgin, right? Virgin this, Virgin Radio, Virgin there. And when they say, well, let's do Virgin Airline, that's not new product development and market development. That's totally different. It's diversification.
But don't the two strategies, can't they overlap? Like when you're entering the market or you're doing product development, aren't you inherently also developing a new market with those new products?
No, because you see, I have the Toyota Camry. I don't, but I'm just going to say that. I have a white Toyota Camry 2019. Before that, I had the 2016. But I bought the 16 because I loved it so much. I had also the 2008. And you see, I can keep on going like that. So if I keep buying the newer version, I'm still the same person. So there's not a compulsory market development when you create a new product. I mean, I have a Mac, which right now in front of me, I have two Mac. I have one that is 4 years old, and I have one that is 1 year old. It's just a new product, and I keep buying the new one. I have the iPhone 12, but before that, I had the iPhone 8. That's product development. Still me. I just buy the newer one. I think we do that more often than not. So product development doesn't have to be. So you can do. So if I was to make a new product, and it goes to the same people, but to some other people too, then I have to label two strategies. It's okay. Whenever you do something, it doesn't have to be just one strategy. So could you? Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's the answer to your question. It can be a combination.
Right.
But it can't be a combination of market penetration and product development because they're mutually exclusive. But market development and product development don't have to be mutually exclusive. You could do something that generates both.
Okay.
But you have to state. So the worst thing is someone does a product development and then explain that they're going to sell it to the people that used to have the previous version. But there's new people, so you're selling, I don't know, air. I know the name in Spanish, ambientador. So it's like an air spray to make the smell good in a room. So like a perfume, a room perfume. And you're making this room perfume for men. It's men that's gonna really like it. And then you decide to make a new product and you say, actually this new product, the smell is not just for men and women are gonna like it. So then you have to say it's a new product, but it covers more market. So the past and new additional.
Right. Okay.
But you couldn't do a product that works. Yeah. So don't be confused. And not many people are confused because I insist so much. And I won't make it a nightmare in the quiz. I think I'm fair. So I'm not going to make it that it's confusing. I'm not going to say, What if Coke was to make a new flavor in in an existing packaging and sell it to a new group of people, but at the same time, and it's like no, 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 no. It's going to be a straight thing. It's selling an existing product to a totally new group of customers. Oh, that's a straight definition of market development. Selling a new product to the same people as they were selling before. No, new product development. What if Coke is selling a product for a totally complete new industry and category of product? That's diversification. What about Coke is selling the same product? All they do is reduce the price for a short time. That's market penetration.